All right, today we're jumping into a real crypto mystery that's got a lot of people talking. We're looking at a digital coin that's not even really trading on major exchanges, yet a huge community insists it has a value that is, well, you could say it's pretty unbelievable.
Okay, look at this number. This is what it's all about. $314,000, $159. According to a massive global community, that's the value of one single Pi coin.
So that leads to the obvious question, right? How in the world is a valuation like this even possible for a coin you can't just go and buy on a typical exchange? The answer, it turns out, isn't in the markets. It's in an idea they call global consensus value. So yeah, let's break that down. The whole argument for this insane price tag, it all comes down to this one idea: global consensus value, or GCV for short. We have to understand what it is. Now, here's what's so wild about GCV. It's not a market price. It's intentionally kept separate from all that. This value isn't being set by Wall Street traders or big exchanges. Nope. It's a value set and agreed upon by the users themselves, the so-called pioneers of the Pi network, when they trade actual stuff with each other. Think of it less like a stock price and more like a social contract. So you see, for the believers, this number is way more than just a price. It's this powerful symbol. It represents their shared belief in where this project is going, their loyalty after sticking with it for years, and their whole vision for a decentralized future, one where the people, not the markets, decide what something is worth. Okay, so we get the idea of GCV, but what's the actual proof? What are supporters pointing to when they say, no, really, this is the price? Let's dig into their side of the story. Well, this is their big proof of concept. They'll tell you that thousands of real-world trades are already happening at this GCV rate. On these community-run platforms, people are supposedly swapping everything. Phones, services, you name it, and they're doing it using this exact valuation, treating one Pi coin like it's actually worth over 300 grand. And this quote right here, it perfectly sums up the whole vibe. Hold on, if you're not in the crypto world. That just means hold on for dear life and don't sell. The whole strategy is to believe in the long game. Hold on to your Pi and only transact at the agreed upon GCV price. The idea is to build the economy from the inside out instead of just dumping it on an exchange for a quick buck. And we're not talking about some tiny fringe group here. The scale is massive. We're talking over 100 million app downloads and millions of followers on social media. The sheer size of this global community is fundamental to the GCV argument. The logic is pretty simple. If enough people all agree that something has value, well, then it does. But here's where it gets even more interesting. Supporters claim this isn't just wishful thinking. They say there's actual tech behind the scenes designed to protect this value. The claim is that the network can technically enforce the GCV standard within its own ecosystem. So how does that supposedly work? Well, the claim is they use something called chain link oracles, which basically feed real-world data into the blockchain. These oracles watch the transactions. If someone tries to make a trade that values Pi way below the GCV, a smart contract can step in and just block it. Think of it like a bouncer for transactions, making sure everyone sticks to the house rules. Okay, so you've got this huge, passionate community on one side and this supposed technical backstop. But there's a massive disconnect between that vision and what, the rest of the financial world sees. This is where we get to the real conflict, the standoff between pure belief and cold, hard market data. And this is where those two worlds just smash into each other. On one side, you have the GCV believers saying value comes from the community and what the coin can do. On the other side, you have market critics who are just looking at the numbers. They see these informal IOUs for Pi trading for under $1 and say, come on, this GCV ping is just a fantasy. And this is why the critics are so doubtful. If you actually do the math, if you take that GCV of over $300,000 and apply it to Pi's potential coin supply, you get a market cap of over $72 trillion. Let that sink in for a second. Just to put that number into perspective, look at this. $72 trillion.
That would make the Pi network worth, well, way, way more than Bitcoin. It'd be worth almost 5 times more than all the gold in the entire world. For critics, this is where the conversation just ends. It's pure fantasy to them.
So with this enormous gap between belief and reality, you gotta ask, what happens now? What's next? Well, the future of Pi, it all seems to hinge on what's coming up just over the horizon. And there are a couple of huge dates everyone is watching. First, the big one, the planned open mainnet launch in February 2025. That's supposedly when the doors open to the outside world, to real exchanges. That's the moment of truth. And second, the founder is going to be speaking at Consensus 2025, which is a really big deal in the crypto space. But at the end of the day, all this talk about value, it's going to be settled by one thing: utility. Can people actually use it? Are real businesses going to accept it? Are developers going to build cool apps on it? Is it going to be fully legal and regulated? That's what will determine whether it has any real lasting value. And this quote, it really just perfectly captures the whole ambition of the Pi community. Their dream isn't just to create another crypto coin, it's to build an entirely new economy, one that's so compelling that the rest of the world will have no choice but to come knocking on their door. And so that's what this all boils down to, right? The big, lingering question. Is the Pi network just an elaborate fantasy, a delusion built on social media hype? Or is it something else? Is it a glimpse of a future where a massive unified community can actually redefine our whole concept of money, creating value out of pure belief and shared trust? The next year or so is going to be very, very interesting to watch. Thanks for checking out this Explained.